Yep, do it. All right.
Recording should be started.
All right, cool. Thank you, Morgan. All right, welcome everybody to the, what is it, January 29th version of the Service Catalog SIG meeting. Today, let's see, oh, we already got the recording started, so we can erase that. So, small agenda today, but let's go ahead and jump right into it. So, at the KubeCon event in EU, when is that, May, June? Whenever it is next. Dan Kahn, the CTO of CNCF, sent out a note saying that they have rooms available for SIGs to do meetups or meetings for either a 30-minute session or an 80-minute session to do deep dives into their project. We can get one or both of those sessions if we want. But I was talking about this with Paul and Aaron and Vile, and we thought this actually might be a good opportunity for some folks, a non-SIG lead person, put it that way, to present to the Kubernetes community what's going on here. And the original thought we were thinking was to grab an 80-minute slot where we give a brief intro into what is the Open Source Broker API, very, very briefly, and then spend the rest of the time talking about our implementation of it inside Service Catalog, show a demo of it, explain how we don't really do anything that different in terms of, use the controller and stuff, but maybe talk a little bit about some of the arrows we took in terms of being some of the trailblazers on some of the newer features of Kubernetes that we use, like the aggregated server, stuff like that. Plugins, another good example. So anyway, what we were thinking of doing was offering it up to you guys, see if there's somebody on the call who'd like to volunteer to be part of the group that's going to be presenting this. I figure maybe 2 or 3 people max might be good for an 80-minute session, maybe 2, I don't know. But it's up to you guys. Anyway, let me sort of pause there and see if there's any interest from you guys on the call to sign up for this thing. Morgan?
Are we doing the thing? We didn't really say. Okay,
yeah,
whatever.
I don't have the official piece of paper in my hand, but yes, I'm watching the queue. Yes.
Okay. I think we can fit in plenty of people. We definitely had those sessions in the last Cube thing were definitely worthwhile for people attending. I don't mind doing like the API server stuff, but I don't know a lot about the internals of the controller beyond, interacting with it and that it uses the client. So.
Okay. Is there anybody else on the call who would like to volunteer to be part of the presentation? I was going to pick on people, but I'm hoping somebody raises their hand on their own. All right, I noticed we have a couple people join the call late, so let me go ahead and sort of quickly summarize for the latecomers. We have an opportunity to do a deep dive session at the next KubeCon in Copenhagen to provide an overview of the project to the Kubernetes community. We were thinking of a brief intro into the Open Source Broker API, and then a deep dive into the Service Catalog work with the hopes of presenting it to people so they can sort of jumpstart their education and possibly even learn more about what we're doing so that they can contribute code itself. It's not meant to be just a high level, here's how you use it, but rather what we did under the covers. So as I mentioned earlier, some of the things like, some of the trailblazing stuff we did relative to API aggregation, that kind of stuff, or some of the things we had to make tough choices on, like, for example, the naming scheme. Because Kubernetes doesn't allow you to change names, stuff like that. So we're looking for some volunteers. We're hoping to get non-SIG leads to do this presentation. So Morgan has volunteered to be part of the group doing this. Is there anybody else on the call at this time who would like to volunteer and who's going to be at KubeCon in Copenhagen in a couple months?
Is nobody else going?
Okay.
Maybe we can just let this go for a while and.
Yeah, let people think about it. I'll ping some people offline. I don't want to put you guys too much. Well, actually, we don't have too much time because if you're going to do it, we need to reserve a room by tomorrow. So I do need to know relatively quickly. So I'll ping some people offline who I thought might be good candidates. But I don't want to embarrass you guys or put you on the spot on the phone here. So we'll play it by ear. Okay. All right, moving on. Morgan, the next issue is yours. Where to publish service cat?
Let me open that up. This was basically, is Carolyn here? No, Carolyn's not here. Is Aaron here? No. Is anyone from Microsoft here? No. Okay. Basically, it seems like we do build a binary. It does. I don't think we actually have this particular binary that we build hooked up into any distribution mechanism. I'm not sure what the suggestion is for how to do that, other than we can copy, I guess, this, and then we need to have the Azure client, whatever that is, configured and in the build. And then we don't publish anything to releases, I don't think. Do we? I don't recall. But I do know we publish images, so I just wanted to raise this for Carolyn and solicit opinions and move on pretty quickly if we don't feel like we're making progress. That's all.
Okay. Any comments, questions on this? So I know, since you mentioned the releases thing, I know, as you said, we don't actually use the releases feature of GitHub. I was wondering whether that would make sense to use here. I know I've used it in the past for other things like tarballs and stuff. I don't know how convenient it is for executables, though. That's my reason I'm a little hesitant. I guess, we do have assets. You're right.
Yeah, we've got the source code, but not any binaries, which would just be a Go binary since we only have the one.
Does anybody have any experience with downloading executables through this process?
How about uploading executables?
Well, I'm assuming you can do it because I know other people have done it. I just haven't done it myself. Do people have any preferences on where these things should be published to? Okay, I'm inclined to try to publish it through the GitHub if we can, because I don't think there is an official repository for executables. But then, Morgan, I also liked your idea of perhaps creating a Docker image for this stuff, the same way we do with kubectl.
Yeah, I mean, we got one for everything else. Kubectl, or you can figure out how to fold it into Hypercube, but I wouldn't really want to do that at this point.
Yeah.
It should be separate.
I'm not familiar with how. Oh, sorry. Are we doing the hand thing?
It's okay. No one's on it, so go for it, Jonathan.
How am I supposed to use those Docker images? Am I supposed to download it and jump into it, and that's how I use it? Because that doesn't seem too helpful for me if I'm trying to use this.
No, you say Docker run kubectl and then whatever command line you normally put on kubectl.
And of course, through the magic of aliasing, you can make that Docker run part go away.
Or you could just learn how to install binaries.
Yeah, if you look at I think if you look at some of the test cases or the setup of the test cases, you could see how it's done. And in fact, you can even get more advanced and like mount some of your file system into the container so we can have access to local files and stuff like that. It is possible to do it. Just check the shell scripts in there. So Morgan, would you be willing to work with Carolyn to see what she thinks about uploading the executables to the release? Because I figured we could probably build at least Linux AMD 64 and the Windows version. That might get most people happy. Jay, your hand's up?
Yeah, so we're just talking the plugin binaries, not the service catalog image. Is that right?
So I believe we're talking about the service catalog standalone client executable that Carolyn created.
Right. Is it weird that we wouldn't have all the binaries, or the binaries are going to be in different spots? Or I mean, I realize that I guess currently the service catalog is it's a downloadable Docker image, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it makes sense. Maybe it is a good idea. I was just thinking, we're putting service catalog binary where there's presently no other binaries, but I guess they're already going to be separated because of the way they're distributed. So I guess it's fine. I don't object.
Yeah.
I could see that being confusing, though.
Yeah, well, I think you are right, though, in the sense that the other executables that we do create Docker images for, but I believe that's mainly because people are expected to run this stuff within Kubernetes itself, which
Right.
means they have their Docker images.
Yep.
This one's a command line tool. So it seems to me if we create two different versions, one is a Docker image, so people could use it the same way, so they could run it through Docker if they wanted to. But then if we make the executables as standalones available through the release process as well, at least there's a consistent spot to download it. So anyway,
Yep.
Morgan, you don't want to talk to Carolyn about that?
Yeah, I can follow up.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, next on the agenda, I believe that's you, Jonathan, right? JB?
Yep. So now that we've discussed how exactly we can and cannot distribute this thing, I'm going to show you, how do I switch to sharing my screen? Oh,
Well, I have to stop.
Oh.
So give me 1 second.
So I'm just going to go over
Recording
the end result of what turning it into a plugin has accomplished. So if people are interested in svcat or whatnot.
You can try sharing now.
Nope, he is. Yep.
Is that working? Can we see my terminal?
Yep, I can see it.
It's working.
Okay, so
Wow.
assuming you get the binary somehow. Now, if for those of you who were here when I demoed my previous plugins, those required you to download and stick them in the right place manually. And they were two parts. There was the actual plugin binary, and there was the accompanying YAML file that was like, showed kubectl how to use it. So for the new svcat, Carolyn has done some work to make it have a self-installation process. So here I have locally, I have a compiled binary for svcat. Now, if you really wanted to, you could use this manually, as it is still has all of its own standalone functionality. But we have added it a new command so it can install itself. So you say svcat install plugin. Oh, well, shows you how much. So yeah, not really much to see, but what that's doing is it's copying itself into that directory, and it's extracting its the plugin YAML. We have it in the code in the source, so it can just deposit that right there. So then when I go into kubectl, it's available for use as a plugin, and then once I'm there, it's the same thing as the standalone version.
Cool.
So assuming you can get the binary to the user, it's easier to install now.
Excellent. That's really kind of cool. I like the fact you have both options available. Cool.
Install needs help text.
Any questions or comments from folks on the call? All right, cool. I haven't actually had a chance to play with that executable yet. I need to do that one of these days.
We are interested in if anybody actually uses this and has feedback, we'd love to hear from you. You can contact Carolyn, you can contact me, but we'd love to hear what you like or don't like.
Excellent. Any questions for Jonathan?
When will it install service catalog?
That's not really the intended use case of this.
That's really Helm's job, isn't it, Morgan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but it'd be nice. One thing.
I think it'd be useful to have a non-Helm installation path, though.
That would be interesting.
Might be reasonable, but that's kind of beyond the context that we originally envisioned this plugin. This was more of sort of a user-facing user interface rather than an admin tool for management of the cluster itself. But I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, something worth to think about. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, thank you, Jessica, for your comment in the Slack, or Zoom, I should say. All right, Jonathan, if you can stop sharing so Morgan can share the agenda again.
I think I did.
Oh, okay. Next on the agenda, Morgan, you crossed this one out, so I'm assuming we can skip it. But you do have the next one after that. Squashing makes you sad. Would you care to talk about that one? Or I'm sorry, you said,
3. Is it presenting again?
yeah. Did you want to defer this one to next week? I just realized you said defer next week. You want to skip this one or not?
Yeah, Paul's not here. I don't really want to discuss this without him.
Okay, yeah, I was going to suggest that too because I know he was a big advocate of squashing. So,
Yep.
All right. In that case, last on the agenda, Jay. Should we restart weekly releases? You want to talk to that one?
Just we were doing it, I think, on a weekly basis, right up through December or something. Maybe it was November.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to re-vendor into OpenShift. So, and we wanted to pick up some changes that Paul got this weekend. It was an API change on a rename, and just kind of drives the point that we should probably be releasing on a regular cadence again, right? Was there? I don't think there was a reason we stopped other than December.
Yeah. So since no one's hand is up, I'll stick mine up. I agree. I think we just, I don't want to call it necessarily lazy, but I think we got a little sloppy because of vacations and stuff.
Right.
And I definitely think we should restart that. Since you had mentioned there was stuff that went in over the weekend that you're interested in picking up, is there somebody who would like to volunteer to create a release tonight? I'm assuming that would make you happy, Jay?
Yeah, I don't need
Okay.
it tonight, but within the next couple of days would be great. I haven't done a release yet, but if there's decent doc, I know Kibble's just recently did it. If
Okay.
that went pretty straightforward, I could give that a go at some point.
Yeah, actually, I think actually it'd be great if you did. There is a wiki page that describes it. It's fairly well documented and fairly straightforward.
Okay.
First time I went through it, it was amazingly simple. I was very impressed with the documentation that Aaron put together. So yeah, if you want to go for it, go ahead and do it. But hold on a sec, Kibbles, your hand's up.
Yeah, well, I was going to say mostly what you just said, and also was going to ask, do we want to, so the doc says that we do it every Friday, and the last time I was going to do it on Friday, and people were like, oh, maybe we should do Monday instead, because just so you don't have to deal with issues and stuff late in the week. So do we want to change our release day? We could just do Mondays and then cut a release today, and then have that be the start of our weekly release again.
Yeah, so Morgan, your hand's up?
No, I agree. Different day, not Friday. We've delayed it too many times on Friday because we don't want to break anybody over the weekend, which, I agree, but let's do it not on Friday then.
Okay. Avila, you're up?
There, can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Yeah. So we didn't used to do them on Friday, so at some point we must have changed them to a Friday, which I don't recall why we would have done that, because we kind of hashed this early on and nobody wanted to do it on a Friday, so I'm curious.
Yeah, I agree. I could have sworn for the longest time we were doing them on Wednesdays. But honestly, I don't care what day we do it.
That's what I also remember. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday, but it was early in the week, so we could close all the issues and everything else and so forth. So I don't remember when we changed them to Friday.
Okay, I'll make a suggestion, but Kibbles, your hand's up, so go ahead and.
Yeah, the doc says the established time is Friday, but then if people want, they can, if they have business need, they can do it on Wednesday, if they wanted to get it out earlier. But I admit I wasn't following exactly the timelines we were doing, so maybe just everybody just did it on Wednesday anyway.
Yeah.
But
so let me put a proposal forward. I kind of like Wednesday because that way it's not too soon after the weekend. Like Monday seems like a little bit awkward time to do a release because that implies people may be working over the weekend, which I don't think we want to encourage. Friday's obviously too late based upon what I heard. So I'd like to make it maybe more formal and say, let's go back to a Wednesday cadence, but leave it up to Jay to decide whether he wants to wait till Wednesday or do it sooner based upon their needs, since he expressed the need for getting something out based upon Paul's recent changes.
Yeah, I like the idea of Wednesday, so +1 from me.
Okay.
yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Any opposition to making it Wednesday, and then there's an AI somewhere in there to change our docs if they still say Friday? No objection to Wednesdays? Okay. So Jay, it's up to you whether you want to wait till Wednesday or not.
Yeah, sounds good. At this point, why don't I plan on Wednesday, and I'll also take the action item for updating the doc.
Excellent. Sounds great. Thank you very
Great.
much.
Thanks.
All right. All right. That technically puts us at the end of the agenda. Are there any other topics people would like to bring up? All right. In that case, just a final reminder, please, if you are planning on going to DockerCon and would like to be part of the education or deep dive session that we're hoping to
KubeCon.
do. I'm sorry, KubeCon. What did I say, DockerCon?
Yeah.
It's all the same. If you're planning on going to KubeCon and you want to be part of the education deep dive session, please let me know. I do need to let Dan Kahn know. I believe it's by tomorrow. And my hope is that we grab an 80-minute session, or maybe it's 85-minute session. So anyway, let me know offline. All right. And with that, I believe we're done. Thank you guys very much. We'll talk next week.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.